Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys I'm going to be doing a video talking about some places that you can get good deals for your Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now I'm not sponsored by any of these places whatsoever. I'm not affiliated or anything of that nature. This is just from personal experience, giving you guys some tricks and tips in buying cards. A lot of you guys have asked me about this question, Seto, where do you buy your cards from? Where do you get your cards from? And I've done a whole bunch of mail call videos, and I really thought it would, it didn't need a video really, because I would mention it here or there, but I think it's about high time I do a video talking about some places where I get cards from and how do I obtain many of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So first off, guys, we'll mention that the best place to get Yu-Gi-Oh cards personally is from personal friends. Networking. Networking. In real life, playing Yu-Gi-Oh, in the real world, not online. The best thing you can do is have a whole bunch of networking friends that you can buy and trade cards from. They may find good deals on cards, they may cut you a good deal, they may do bulk trades, selling bulk cards to you, like a whole bunch of cards, like maybe 20-30 good cards you need, and they'll sell it at a reduced price because you're buying in bulk. There's a whole bunch of ways that networking does really help you save money when you're buying cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I can't tell how many times I've bought like a whole bunch of good solid cards I needed for my deck, but I got them at a reduced price because the fact of the matter was, I bought a whole bunch of cards from him, so he was making a whole bunch of money. That is the best thing I can say, networking, because friends can, when they go to locals, that maybe that night you didn't get to go, or they go to regionals, or they go to a YCS, they see a card you need, they buy it for you, then they sell it to you, and they're making a profit, and you're buying the card for cheaper. Everybody is a win-win. So networking is the #1 way, I would say, just overall. But as for sites online, one of the sites is eBay. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by any of these places. This is just from personal experience and whatnot. Now eBay, it's a good place to buy cards, especially when there's price fluctuation going on. I find it usually has the lower price because other places or other sites will be completely and utterly sold out of the card. Thus, when people put cards up on those sites, they go up for a higher price. A good example is Frog the Jam, which recently went up in price just randomly one day earlier this week, where you pretty much could have, I think it was on TCG Player, it was going for like 30 bucks or $20, but online on eBay it was like going for $13 to $15 for lightly played to near mint. So as you see there, that's a big difference in price. That's almost $10, $15 in price difference. That's where eBay really shines. Also, you can find good deals sometimes on not trades, excuse me, but just buying individual hollow cards that are expensive, cheaper on eBay sometimes. Not all the time though, but I do find good deals on eBay sometimes, and I do buy some cards from eBay from time to time. It's a good source to look out for cards. My second place, guys, look for cards is Amazon. I don't use Amazon too often because usually the card prices on Amazon are very, very, very expensive and very inflated compared to a lot of other sites. But Amazon does come in handy because I have found some very, very good deals in the past on Amazon. It's once in a blue moon type of scenarios, but when it happens, you come out like smelling like a freaking bunch of roses. Literally, like some weird examples are Lavava chains and 101s. I once brought a couple of hollow 101s back when 101 was just coming out and was a very sought after card and was going for like 40-50 bucks. I bought a couple of them for $20 and made a profit of like $15 plus. So really nice profit there. Lavava chains earlier, one time before Lavava chain got banned, doing Dragon Ruler format when Lavava Chain wasn't really being used in a lot of different decks. I got a couple for like I think $18 off eBay when they were going for like $30 retail at other places. Turned around, bought a couple of those, sold them, made some profit, and built me a deck at that time, which was Dark Magician actually. During that time frame. Other places that I do buy cards from is TCG Player. This is one of the main places I buy cards from. If it's not networking from old friends, Yu-Gi-Oh friends at locals, or buddies I've met throughout my Yu-Gi-Oh history that are pretty much my rare hunters, quote unquote, as Vexicus calls them, people I know, my circle of friends, the Seto Kaiba Knights of the Round Table, I guess you could say. If it's not there, it's TCG Player. Now, I'm not sponsored by TCG Player or anything, but usually my best deals are from TCG Player, especially if it's common cards I need or just very cheap cards I need. Usually if I go to eBay, they're like 50 cents more, but if I go to TCG Player and buy, you know, a couple of those cards, it's a lot cheaper. Usually I buy a lot of my cards from TCG Player. That's where I get a bulk of my load if it's not from comrades or friends of mine. The deals are pretty good. There's other places too, like I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Mint has some good deals. Once in a while I do buy cards off them, but TCG Player is mainly where I do the bulk of my buying and cards, because they're usually the cheapest, I find. Personal experience. It's usually, and if they're not the cheapest, they're very close to the medium range. They're a good indicator, though sometimes they are more expensive than other sites like eBay. When cards get sold out, people put high prices on there. But usually that's the good place to buy cards, I find it. Buy cards and just in general, and they have a good refund rate, which is very nice, unlike places where, you know, if you buy a card they won't refund you if it doesn't come in the mail, or, you know, somebody gypped you or it got lost in the mail. TCG Player will refund you if the card didn't arrive, you know, 3 weeks later usually, or 4 weeks later, and you ordered it a month ago. Yeah, you may not get that card, maybe you'll be upset about it, but you will get a refund, which is the nice little cherry on top, I'd say, to TCG Player. Now, other things I want to note in this video about buying cards just in general in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is there's usually a time of year where cards are cheaper in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now you may say, really, there is a time of year that cards are cheaper? Yes, there somewhat is a time of year. Pretty much after Nationals or after Worlds, and between the new, regional season gearing up, usually card prices between, I guess you could say, August to October or November are the cheapest time to buy it, mainly because you have a whole bunch of reprints coming out from Mega Tins or just other sets in the tins. Even back before we even had the Mega Tins, that was usually the cheapest time of the year, was buying that stuff. So if you want to buy a deck from the previous year, you could usually pick it up for cheap during that time frame. That was the prime time to buy it, and it still is to this day, because of the Mega Tins really enhanced this, because things are cheaper during that time, really. Other things I really want to mention is look around, shop around for cards. You wouldn't buy the first thing you see, really, if you're going to a game place and you say, oh, well, I'm going to buy this game right here, but maybe down the street it's $10 off. You know, you shop around for things. It's the best thing I could say. Like I said, you may be surprised at where you find cheaper cards, but buy them from reputable places and reputable sites and reputable people. I know back in the day when I used to do it, buying and selling, cards online, just on eBay. I know that's how some YouTube channels got started. You were like, they did send me the card, where somebody would gyp you. That's what I mean. You have to do it from reputable people. Otherwise, you're going to be out of luck, man. And it's not fun. It's really not, when you're losing money and you're trying to just play this game for funsies, or just in general, just play the game and competitively, or whatever the case may be. I'm thinking quickly if there's anything else. I've mentioned the different times of years. Also, I will mention, usually Yu-Gi-Oh! Prices start to get higher around the spring. So like late spring, so like March or late February, early March until national season. That is when I see Yu-Gi-Oh! Prices always like jump up, especially expensive cards. Oh, there is one more important thing I do want to mention. Very, very important. So, if you guys know anything, I've mentioned this many times before, plan ahead when you're going to build your deck. If I want to build Dark Magician, you should have been picking up the cards 6 months ago. I know that sounds crazy, I know it sounds stupid, but if you have the money, don't wait till the last second. Test the deck out and buy the cards. Because when the set drops, usually that's when the card price is the cheapest sometimes, especially on those cards that people think are very good. So some good examples I'll show you in the last year or so. Clearwing Synchro Dragon. It came out. It was, I bought mine for $15. Not even at sneak peek, just like 2 days after the set drop. I brought it then. It's now like a $20 card. Dante's, you could have picked up originally, if you knew the deck was good back in the in Duelist Alliance, you could have picked that card up for $20 to $23, and then it shot up to $40 overnight, like a week later after the set drop. So the best advice I can tell you is, if you know you're going to buy a set, save some money from your paycheck going into the week that the set is dropping, and use that money to buy the expensive cards. yes, I know you may not want to spend your money in Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's the best way, because literally after people finally figure out that this is a good card, this is a great card, what happens to the price? The price shoots up. It always does. Like Redstone of Legend, I picked them up for $20. 3-4 days later, they shot up to freaking $40 to $30 overnight. You pick the stuff up early that you know you want to play. I mean, wait a day or two, because usually the prices, they're fluctuating the first day the set drops. So wait until, like, if the set drops on a Friday, wait till Saturday evening to pick up the cards, usually. That's my rule of thumb. I try to buy the cards that Saturday or Sunday morning, if it's a card, you know, depending upon the situation. Because usually I notice once that first week of the set's been out and people figure out what's the good stuff, what's the stuff that's not good, prices go up until, like, the special edition. And even then, that doesn't always lower the price. So sometimes you're out of luck and you have to pay more money because you waited. And I don't mean to say, you know, buy on impulse. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But be a smart buyer. The early bird gets the good Yu-Gi-Oh cards sometimes. Just saying. But tell me what your thoughts are, guys, on this. And also tell me some tricks and tips, if you have any that I did not mention in this video, to you buying and selling cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! But mainly this video is about buying. We may talk about selling later down the road and trading if you guys enjoy this video enough. But till next time, guys, take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.